Hello students. Today we are going to take up an important chapter from your CBSE Class 12 curriculum which has been added this year, Poets and Pancakes by Asoka Mitran. This chapter is mainly based at Gemini Studios. So the main action actually takes at the Gemini Studios, which is located in Chennai. It was set up in 1940 and is one of the most influential film producing organizations of India in the early days of the Indian filmmaking. Those who know about South Indian filmmaking would know what I'm talking about when I say Gemini Studios. The founder of this place was S.S. Vasan. So a little bit about the author. Born on September 22nd, 1931, the writer is one of the most influential figures in post-independent Tamil literature. He has written over 200 short stories, 8 novels, and 15 novellas besides other prose writings. Um, Asoka Mitran worked for more than a decade at the Gemini Studios, and his experiences over here and his interaction with people from the Tamil filmdom later took the form of his bestseller book, My Years with Boss. And it was in 1966 that he took over the pseudonym of Asoka Mitran. And in 1980s, most of his works were translated in English and in fact in other European languages also. Now, Pancake was the brand name of the makeup material that Gemini Studios bought in truckloads. And it is from here that you get the importance of the title Poets and Pancakes. Pancake, as we have seen, was bought in truckloads, so the manner in which it was used at Gemini Studios, and Poets because the entire chapter is somewhere or the other related with poets. First of all, most of the people who were working here were poets, including our author, Subbu, and the office boy. Then the Gemini Studios was also a favorite haunt for other very famous authors of, poets of that age. Then it also invited Stephen Spender, who was a well-known English poet. The story department was made up of poets. So somehow or the other, that creative aspect was related with Gemini Studios, and that's why the title Poets and Pancakes. Characters in the story, we have the office boy, Subbu, Asoka Mitran, legal advisor, and Stephen Spender. The story in short. The story begins with Asoka Mitran telling us about the Gemini Studios. We learn about the very popular makeup brand Pancakes, which they order in truckloads because they use it so extensively to make the actors and actresses look ugly. So the story talks about the troubles the actors and actresses face. And here, Asoka Mitran also talks about the office boy in the makeup department. His job was mainly to slap paint during crowd shooting on the faces of players. The author is a poet who joins the studio to become an actor, screenwriter, director, or lyricist, but he actually ends up working in a cubicle just collecting newspaper cuttings. The office boy always came in with his complaints to the author, thinking that he's doing nothing and just cutting paper. He used to always come to the author and complain, and his regular complaints would be against Subbu. He would target Subbu. He thought that Subbu was instrumental in making his life hell. He used to hold Subbu responsible for all his troubles. On the contrary, we see that Subbu is a resourceful man with a loyalty that sets him apart. He is perfect for films, and filmmaking is impossible without him. Everyone loves Subbu for being friendly and hospitable. Subbu also does poetry. He is a logical man with a neutral mindset in a group where there are only dreamers. Gemini Studios got the opportunity to host the Moral Rearmament Army, which is being means we will use the term MRA for Moral Rearmament Army in this PPT. So the MRA did not have very complex plots or messages. Their sets and costumes were almost perfect. Another guest, Steven Spender, makes a visit to Gemini Studios. However, it turns out that he's not that famous and many people have not even heard of him. Owing to language barriers, many could not understand his visit or nor could they understand what he's talking about. His visit remained a mystery until, after many years, Asoka Mitran saw Stephen's name in a book and recognized him from his visit to the studio. Now, let us talk about the makeup room. The makeup room of the Gemini Studios looked like a hair cutting salon with a lot of lights at different angles. A strict hierarchy was maintained in the makeup department. This is important, children, for your short answers. Now, how they maintained this? The chief makeup man made the chief actors and actresses look ugly. So you can see the humor in this. Senior assistant worked on the second hero, junior assistant worked on the main comedian, and so forth. The players who played the crowd were the responsibility of the office boy. And the office boy would be seen mixing paint in a giant vessel and slapping it on the people's faces so that none of their pores would be visible. And in fact, if you have read the story, you would remember how Asoka Mitran would pray that every day there would be crowd shooting scenes so that he could be left alone without being disturbed by the office boy. Well, the office boy is in his 40s, yet he is called the office boy. So don't miss the humor here also. The legal advisor, if you read the story, you know the importance of the legal advisor. He was the lawyer representing the studio, the legal advisor, but was called as the opposite of it by everybody. So whatever he did, there was nothing legal about it. While the rest of the departments wore khadi uniforms, he wore Western clothes. This is important. He was a man of cold logic in a crowd of dreamers, a neutral in the assembly of Gandhiites and Khadiites. Remember these points if you get a question based on the description of the legal advisor. Now, this is an important incident, hence I've included it in my presentation. Once what happened that a very talented and temperamental actress blew over on the sets. While everyone stood stunned, the lawyer recorded the incident and played it later. And that was the end of a brief and brilliant acting career. So now you understand why I was saying there was nothing legal about this legal advisor. He would act in a manner which was not at all befitting an advisor. So he was also a member of the story department. Like many of those who were close to the boss, he was allowed to produce a film and nothing came out of it when the boss decided to close down the story department. And it was the first time in the history of mankind that a lawyer lost his job because the poets were asked to go home because, as I said, he was part of the story department. Let's look at the importance of the MRA in the story. MRA, Moral Rearmament Army. So as you can see, it says most people at Gemini Studios were Gandhiites and Khadiites, but beyond that, they did not have any political affiliations. However, they were all averse to communism. Mr. Vasan invited the MRA, which was a kind of a counter movement to international communism. So the MRA was welcomed at the Gemini Studios, and so it did not have much effect, but the manner in which the MRA had staged the Jotham Valley had a huge impact on the Gemini studios, and henceforth all the sunset and sunrise scenes were played in the manner it was done in the Jotham Valley. The British poet Stephen Spender was the editor of The Encounter and a famous English poet. The Englishman's visit to the studio was an unexplained visit for the Tamilians because they wondered what he was doing at a studio which made films for commoners. Besides, whatever he spoke, no one could understand what he intended to say, as his accent was beyond comprehension. We will come to know a little later in this presentation the importance of his visit. The God That Failed. Now, this is an important 1949 book. It is a collection of 6 essays with the testimonies of a number of famous ex-communists who were writers and journalists. The common theme of the essays is the author's disillusionment with an abandonment of communism. The promotional byline to the book is 6 famous men tell how they changed their minds about communism. So now this is an important book. Why is it important? Well, we will look at this a little later. S.S. Vasan was a famous Indian film producer, director, writer, journalist and entrepreneur. There is a mention of these 3 actresses also in the story. Greta Garbo, famous Swedish actress during Hollywood's silent film period. Vyajanti Mala, she is an Indian actress born in Chennai, known for her roles in the 1950s and 60s and won a large number of awards. Rati Agnihotri, born on December 10, 1960, is again another veteran Indian actress. These 3 actresses have been mentioned in the story. Let's solve some questions as per the CBSE format. Let's look at this question, which is straight from your sample question paper that has been shared by CBSE. It's based on the extract, a girl from the countryside she hadn't gone through. So the extract where you have the legal advisor and that actress. Stages of worldly experience in the given context would refer to, you have to infer the meaning. The right answer is situations that require one to be street smart. Select the suitable word from the extract to complete the following analogy. Now, analogy is you have to understand the relation of the first 2 words. So you have to see what sealed is to closed. You have to understand propelled is to catapulted. You have to understand the relationship. Select the correct option to fill in the blank. The answer is B, unintentional act. Based on the above extract, choose the statement that is true for the legal advisor. He did not gel well with others in the department. Next is identify the textual clue that allows the reader to infer that the writer is sympathetic towards the professional fate of the actor. So the textual clue is sad end. The phrase is sad end. Here, remember children, if it is given, write one word, you have to write one word only. Okay? Do not write a phrase or a sentence. Complete the sentence with an appropriate explanation as per the extract. The writer uses the word uniform to refer to the outfits of the department members because just like a uniform is a common dress code for all. Similarly, their dress was nearly the same, loose khadi shirt and dhoti. What light does the lesson throw on the versatility of Subbu? Now, this is an important question. It could be asked in any form. The character sketch of Subbu, draw a pen portrait of Subbu. The points are going to be the same. Kotamangalam Subbu was a Brahmin by caste and placed at number 2 position at the Gemini studios. I've tried to highlight the important words that you need to remember, children. He was very loyal to his boss. People disliked him because of his closeness to the boss. He had the solution of all problems at one place. You can give examples for this particular point. He also had the artistic talent as he was a poet and novelist also. He was tailor-made actor with unmatchable capacities. For this also, there is an example in the story. Subbu was a versatile genius who was not only a good actor but also a good writer. He was also technically well versed and had proved his ability in filmmaking. So these are some of the points. Try to remember at least 4 or 5 points if you are writing the character sketch of Subbu. Very important question. Comment on the author's use of humor and satire to give a true depiction of the life in the studio. I've already discussed the examples while I was explaining the story in short. So this is just a recap. Let's look at it. The author narrates certain events and describes certain people with a gentle humor without directly hurting anyone. How the makeup artists use truckloads of pancakes, their role is to make actors look ugly. So we all know makeup is used to enhance the beauty, but here it was being used to make the actors look ugly. The office boy, though has the word boy in his name, was a man in his 40s. And then the author mentions Subbu was cheerful even when he had a hand in a flop film. The legal advisor, contrary to his role, ruins an actress's career by making her listen to her own loud voice. What does the god that failed refer to? Poets and Pancakes. The God That Failed was a compilation of 6 essays written by 6 eminent writers. In each of the essays, the respective writers describe their journeys into communism and their disillusioned return. The writer's dissatisfaction with and rejection of communism is a common theme of the essays. It is the classic work and crucial Cold War document that brings together essays by most important writers on their conversion to and subsequent disillusionment with communism. Good luck, children. If you've liked it, share it with your friends. All the best. God bless.